Hello children, how are you? I hope you all are doing well and studying well. So children, by now you know about different fields which are related in the environmental studies. So बच्चों, जैसे food is important, what else do you think is important? Food is important, air is important. There's one more thing which is very important in our life. That's right, that's water. Okay, water plays a very important role in our survival, isn't it? Chalo. So let's talk about water in this chapter. I know in cities people get water from, and in villages people get water from. So what are the different sources from where the people in cities get water and people in villages get water is what you have to mention. Okay, so now children, water is very important to us. Okay, we need water all the time for different activities like drinking, for bathing, for cooking, for washing clothes and utensils, etc. About 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. The water distribution of Earth is uneven and the availability ranges from salty water to fresh water. So water बहुत ही important है हमारे लिए. Okay, we require water for so many activities. जैसे नहाना हो गया, सबसे पहले तो पीने के लिए चाहिए, नहाने के लिए चाहिए, खाना बनाने के लिए चाहिए, बर्तन धोने के लिए, कपड़े धोने के लिए. So many things are involved, okay, that require water. Okay, और आप देखोगे if you look at the globe, okay, अर्थ का जो आप देखोगे ग्लोब ऑफ द अर्थ, उसमें आप देखोगे कि that 3/4 okay is water and 1/4 is land. So इसकी वजह से हमारी धरती पे सबसे ज़्यादा पानी है. Okay, and this water is through different sources. जैसे oceans हो गए, seas हो गए, then rivers हो गए, lakes हो गए, ponds हो गए. So many different places are there where we get where there is water. Okay, so सबसे main source of water क्या है? The main source of water is rain. Okay, rain is the main source of water. Okay, अब this rain gets mixed up with different things. Okay, like it gets mixed up with the fresh water and it also gets mixed up with the salty water. So when the main source of water gets mixed with sources of fresh water, okay, there are different types. One is surface water, second is underground water. Then surface water matlab water in ponds, rivers and lakes, and underground water means the water which is in the springs, wells and infiltration wells. The second source which is the sources of salty water. Okay, the surface water hota hai and they are on the oceans and seas. So now let's talk about it in detail. Okay, sources of water. Surface water. Water found on the surface of the earth in the form of streams, rivers, wetlands, oceans, lakes and ponds is called the surface water. Water from rivers is purified and made suitable for drinking in cities. It reaches our homes through pipelines. So ये जो surface water होता है उसमें से जो river का पानी होता है उसको factories में भेजते हैं, filtration process हो जाता है, purification process हो जाता है, and then this water comes through our pipelines into the cities. Okay. Second is the underground water. Surface water is what we use. Second is the underground water. Underground water क्या होता है? When rainwater seeps deep into the earth, okay, into the earth's surface and is accumulated underground. Okay, जब underground जमा हो जाता है, it is called underground water. Okay, when the rainwater is seeped and collected underground. Okay, springs, wells and hand pumps are some underground water sources. People living in villages get water from wells, hand pumps and tube wells. In some villages, people have to go far off places to fetch water. Okay. In early times, people drew water from sources like baulis and piaus. ओके। सो इन एंशियंट टाइम हमेशा पानी मिलना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता था, तो पीपल यूज टू ड्रॉ वाटर फ्रॉम दिस बाउलीज और प्याउस। ओके, नाउ व्हाट इज अ बाउली? ओके, इट इज एन एंशियंट सोर्स ऑफ वाटर, अ बाउली और अ स्टेप वेल, ओके, स्टेप्स होते हैं उस वेल के अंदर, ओके, इज अ डीप वेल इन विच वाटर कैन बी रीच्ड बाय क्लाइंबिंग डाउन अ नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स। तो यहाँ पे आपको बहुत स्टेप्स उतरने पड़ते हैं टू गेट दैट water. Okay, imagine going down the steps, collecting the water and coming up the steps. This is what people used to do in the ancient time. Okay, these are ancient water reservoirs, okay, where huge amounts of water could be stored. They were built to collect and store rain water, mainly rain water को preserve करने के लिए, store करने के लिए these were built. Okay, now this water was used by the people for drinking and other household activities. Some of the famous Baulis are the Dada Harir Bauli in Gujarat, the Chand Bauli in Rajasthan, Agrasen ki Bauli and the Rajo ki Bauli in Delhi. And the Agrasen ki Bauli, which is there in is believed, okay, it is believed that to have been built during the epic eras of the Mahabharat. मतलब इतनी पुरानी है वो, okay. It is also believed that some of the earliest forms of Baulis were built in the ancient civilizations of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. That means they are so old and so ancient, okay. Fact zone: the oldest existing Bauli in Delhi was built by Rajput king Anangpal II and is called Anangpal Bauli. Do find out more information about that and do read more about it, and if you get a chance to visit it, why not? Okay, next is the piaus. Okay, piaus means in very harsh summer, travelers on the road might need a glass of water. Okay, to serve these travelers, we can see earthen pots full of water at roadsides. These are called piaus. Okay, so आप देखोगे कि जब लोग बहुत लंबी जर्नी के लिए निकलते हैं एंड दे पास थ्रू प्लेसेस और विलेजेस जहाँ पे पानी नहीं होता है, आप देखोगे विलेजेस जो है एक घड़े में, एक अर्दन पॉट में पानी भर के रखते हैं, उसको ढक के रखते हैं, और जो पासर बाइज होते हैं दे कैन टेक वाटर फ्रॉम देयर एंड ड्रिंक इट. ओके, सो एनीबडी कैन ड्रिंक वाटर फ्रॉम दीज पियार्स. Okay, the water is served free for travelers. They are maintained by charitable organizations, any group, local residents or nearby temple, mosque or gurudwaras. Okay, now let's talk about water for irrigation. हमने farming के chapter में पढ़ा था about water, about irrigation. Okay, irrigation means watering of crops. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, so during rainfall, some of the rainwater seeps into the soil to form underground water. This water is used for irrigation purposes. Water in fields by artificial means is called irrigation. Okay, wells, tube wells, hand pumps, canals and tanks are some of the techniques of using underground water, rainwater and river water for irrigation. Okay, irrigation matlab watering of plants, okay, and water in fields by artificial means, okay, through pipes or through different ways. Okay, that is how they water the plants. At the same time थोड़ा बहुत पानी तो रेन वाटर की वजह से सॉइल में सीप इन तो हो ही जाता है. Okay, so find out how did travelers get water in earlier times from your grandparents. Okay, find out this information. Now let's talk about a well. What is a well? A well is a deep hole dug in the ground where underground water is easily available. Water is taken out from the well with the help of a pulley. एक पुली होती है जिसमें आप देखोगे एक साइड पे बाल्टी अटकाई होती है और उसमें रस्सी बांधते हैं, and then they drop that bucket inside the well and then they pull it through the pulley and then the water comes out. Okay, a pulley is a wheel. It's a wheel with a grooved outer rim. Okay, a bucket is tied at the end of a rope and then the rope is fitted in the groove of the wheel. As the rope is released, the bucket goes down into the well. When the bucket gets filled with water, it is taken out of the well by pulling the rope. Most of the villages in our countries have wells to draw underground water. Okay, it is very important that a pulley is there, because अगर पुली नहीं होती तो लोग पहले झुक के पानी निकालते थे, and there was a very bad chance that they could fall inside the well, and it is very dangerous. So बच्चों, जब आप villages में जाओगे, please do not go near the wells without an adult. Alright, be careful. Now next is tube wells. Tube wells क्या होता है? In tube wells, a pipe is inserted deep into the ground, and water is drawn up with the help of an electric pump. They work on electricity or diesel pumps to draw the water out. Next are the canals. Canals are dug from rivers or tanks to let the water flow to the crop fields. Sometimes canals are connected to the water reservoirs or dams. This allows continuous supply of water to the fields. Canals जो होते हैं ये generally man-made होते हैं. Man-made, they are constructed by the people to help them in the fields for farming purposes and all. या फिर जो भी वो अपना खेत लगाते हैं, बागान लगाते हैं, उसमें पानी आने के लिए canals are constructed. और कभी-कभी ये canals जो होते हैं इनको reservoirs, water reservoirs या dams के साथ भी connect कर देते हैं, so that there is a good supply of water. Alright? Tanks. In some places where the ground is hard and wells cannot be dug, rainwater is collected in low-lying areas called tanks. Okay? जैसे देखो जहाँ पे well नहीं डग होते, then they build a tank over it. Okay? Now, what is a water wheel? Okay, water wheel was a traditional means and method of lifting water from well and using flowing water to produce power. Okay, it is partly submerged in water and vertical wheel with buckets attached to the rim. Okay, when animals such as bull turn the wheel, तो आप देखोगे इस व्हील के को टर्न करते थे एनिमल्स जैसे बुल. ओके, the buckets attached to the rim also turn. The buckets at the bottom are filled with the water, and when they rotate, they empty the water into the channels that irrigate the land. Nowadays, electric pumps are used to draw water from the well. तो earlier time में क्या होता था? ये water wheel होता था, जिसमें इट वॉज लाइक अ ट्रेडिशनल मेथड पानी निकालने का, लिफ्ट करने का. ओके, और वो क्या करते थे, वो पानी के लिए वो जो व्हील होता था उसके पास में आप देखोगे अलग टाइप के बकेट्स है. ओके, दे आर अटैच टू वेरी फर्मली. ओके, और जब वो एनिमल्स लाइक द बुल यूज टू टर्न द व्हील टू रोटेट करता था, तो ये बकेट्स भी अटैच हो जाते थे, जो रिम के साथ अटैच थे वो भी टर्न होना शुरू हो जाता था. एंड देन द बकेट्स एट द बॉटम पानी से भर जाती थी, एंड देन दे यूज्ड टू रोटेट, एंड देन दे एम्प्टीड द वाटर इनटू द चैनल्स. डिफरेंट चैनल्स में एम्प्टी करते थे, सो दैट द वाटर कुड रीच द लैंड. ओके, जहाँ और द फील्ड्स. ओके, सो आजकल तो इलेक्ट्रिक पंप यूज हो रहा है टू डू द सेम एक्टिविटी. ओके, नाउ व्हाट फ्लोट्स और what sinks? अब पानी में क्या फ्लोट होता है और क्या सिंक होता है? Let's talk about that. Okay, you must have seen sometimes if you put say an eraser, okay, into a glass of water, what will happen? It will sink. It will go and sit at the bottom of the glass because it is heavier. Now, if you put say your pencil shave, okay, in that, तो वो क्या होगा? वो ऊपर फ्लोट करेगा because it's heavier. So that is a simple concept. Okay, now different objects behave differently with water. For example, objects like stone seemed heavy, sank down in water, while paper seemed light, float on water. This is because whether an object sinks or floats in water do not depend on its weight or size. It actually depends on its density. कितना dense है. Okay, उस पे डिपेंड करता है. Now, what is density? Density is a measure of how solid something is. Okay, all the objects are made up of molecules. If these molecules are very close to each other, the item is solid और डेंस. ओके, तो अगर ये जो मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं वो अगर टाइटली इनक्लोज्ड किए हुए हैं, ओके, विथ एंड दे आर लाइक वेरी क्लोजली अटैच्ड टू ईच अदर, दैट मीन्स इट इज अ सॉलिड और डेंस आइटम. ओके, सो इफ दीज मॉलिक्यूल्स आर फार अवे फ्रॉम ईच अदर, द आइटम इज लेस solid or less dense. So if the object has density less than water, it will not sink. On the other hand, if the object has density more than the water, okay, the object will sink. For example, cork. Cork जो होता है ना, ढक्कन जो होता है बॉटल के ऊपर का, it has a lower density than iron. So it floats while iron ball has a higher density, so it sinks. Okay. So now let's talk about what things can be dissolved in water and what things cannot be dissolved in water. Take some water in a transparent glass. Okay, add salt to it and stir it well. What do you see? Is the solution in the glass transparent? Add teaspoon of sugar to the glass of water and salt. What do you see? Is the solution in the glass transparent? Now add chalk powder to this solution. Can you see chalk powder in the solution even after stirring? When we add sugar and salt, जब हम sugar और salt add करते हैं transparent glass में, पानी के glass में, okay, they dissolve, वो पानी में dissolve हो जाते हैं. Okay, then at that time जो solution ready हो जाता है पानी का, पानी में sugar and salt का जो solution ready होता है वो transparent हो जाता है. Okay, whereas if we add chalk powder, it does not dissolve in water, वो पानी में dissolve नहीं होता है. So solubility is the ability of a substance to dissolve in a liquid. Substances which mix or dissolve in water are called soluble substances. For example, salt and sugar. Substances which do not mix or dissolve in water, they are called insoluble substances. For example, wood, oil and sand. In the process of dissolving, the substance which is being dissolved is called a solute. जो dissolve हो जाता है वो substance कहलाता है solute, and the substance in which the solution is being dissolved, जिस solution में उसको dissolve किया जाता है उसको बोलते हैं solvent. Alright, so now children, I am sure that you are all going to try these different experiments of checking what can dissolve, what cannot dissolve, what can sink, what cannot sink, and do reread this chapter about water and do the back exercises. Before that, let's remember the important points. Okay, about 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. Okay, in early times people draw water from sources like bowlies and pures. I hope you remember about this. Water wheel was a traditional method and means of lifting water from well and using flowing water to produce power, okay, or energy. All the objects are made up of molecules, and solubility is the ability of a substance to dissolve in a liquid. Let's look at the difficult words also, the new words that we've learned. Bowli is a huge well with steps to reach the bottom. Okay, pulley is a small wheel over which fills the area with water that seeps into the ground. Solubility is the ability of a substance to dissolve in liquid. Solute is the substance that dissolves in liquid, and solvent is the liquid in which a substance dissolves. Alright, so as I said earlier, do reread this chapter and don't forget to do the back exercises.